excited to share my message today, which is, we are making it up. We are making it up. And it was great to see that clip. As always, Marvin seems to tune into me psychically and pull something together, because I mentioned Aquarius as one of the songs that this choir that is now coming together might want to start working on for September 12th, our day of prayer. And I had no idea that Marvin was going to actually pull out that clip, which is such a powerful example of making it up. I don't know how many of us are old enough to remember when Hair the musical burst onto the scene. But what was so amazing about it is that it took a form of the musical, which everyone knew, and basically threw everything out the window and says, guess what, we're making it up. This is what we've decided to do. And you could even see it, even though this is the movie version, which came out a number of years later, with Twyla Tharp's choreography there at the end. She came forward as a choreographer and said, I'm making it up. She threw out all the old forms and said, I'm going to do something completely new. This is now dance. This is now music. This is now what it's about. And that's really how we move forward as a human family, is someone's willing to come up and say, regardless of what's been so far, I'm going to make up something new. I'm going to throw out the old, throw out the way it's been established, what everyone said the world is about, and I'm going to say, this is what it's about. That's really what our teacher and the main source of this unity movement, which has been going on for 125 years, that's what Jesus Christ came to say, that the old and established is not the truth. This is the truth. And the truth that he shared literally was that we are making it up with this, what he called the Father, the Spirit, the divine energy that flows through us. And all we really need to do is ask with faith that it is done. And so what if that's actually true? What if we are making it up through our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings? And my question is, and I want to do a little bit of feedback, get you guys to participate today, what are you making up? Number one, let's start with what you're making up that doesn't serve you. And I'll give you a little bit of an example using Kevin, if he doesn't mind. He just recently got an eviction notice on his doorway. And he sent me a little text last night saying, oh my God, this, I don't remember your exact text, but this sucks. And I said, texted him back, said, maybe not. Maybe not. But how many things show up in life and we decide this isn't good? We suddenly make up a whole story around it. This is the worst thing that could happen.
I think what you said, what I said was, this is the worst news I could have gotten right now. And Cardi said, maybe it's the best news you could have gotten.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, there's a little bit of creating a miracle right there. So...
Yeah, and so as he wrote back and he said, wow, I like your positive thinking. And it's so much easier for me to do it with others, right? But when it happens in my own life, it's like, no, why this? And so what I want you to do is just take a moment and think, what are you making up? Maybe in the past week, maybe something you've been holding on to your whole life that isn't necessarily the truth. But because we make it up and we decide it's the truth, that's what shows up. That's how we come to it at. And the more we react with anger, with negativity, the more we make it real. When we step back and say, oh, this is just a letter that came for me, I don't know. I don't have to make it solid with all the emotional stuff and create the karma. So anyone have anything that they've been making up that maybe is not, yes?
I don't have anything I'm making up at this moment, but what I'm thinking is sometimes we need to make a move, and if we don't make the move, the universe will make it for us. And that has happened before in my life. I keep
Absolutely.
hanging on to the old, and then pretty soon something happens to where the universe handles it.
Yeah. Which could relate to what's going on with Kevin as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Hands up to that one.
Mine is relationships have to follow my formula in order to be successful, even though it's never worked in the past.
Thank you. So today, Jean, you are my teacher, because boy, have I been getting a lot of lessons through my relationship. And what I've realized in making it up, the first, and it goes along with exactly what Colleen said about taking an action. Where is the universe or life or that inner voice urging you, inspiring you to do something, to take an action? And where do we not because we're afraid, oh, it's going to upset this person, or people aren't going to be happy, or I'm stepping into unknown ground and that's going to be scary. Where do we stop ourselves? And you're absolutely right. The universe will come in, spirit will come in and say, push you into it. So I've been being pushed lately to just stand in my truth. And the resistance to do that had led me to saying, I've just got to throw this relationship out the window, or this person out the window. Yeah. And, practicality came in and said, well, you can't really do that, because if you do that, there's jail, there's problems. That's not really what we want. And so it forced me to step up and say, this works for me and this doesn't. And a couple of times to say it quite loudly, and I thought to myself, well, this isn't really the way a spiritual leader should be acting. And yet, I was heard. More importantly than being heard by the other person, I was heard by myself. And the act of stating my truth and standing in it, I felt a whole energy release. And in spite of that voice that said I was doing it wrong because it was too loud and it didn't look pretty, it didn't look like what my idea of a spiritual leader is, the truth is, the energy shifted, and I thought, wow, this is right. This feels good. And things shifted by taking a step, by moving forward. Very similar to what happened with me, ending up standing here speaking to you right now. I stepped outside my comfort zone, took an action, talked to Sonia Milton, our minister in San Francisco, said, hey, I'm on the board here now. I'd love to speak here sometime. Didn't work out to actually speak at Unity of San Francisco, but she forwarded an email from your past president here, Peggy, that said they're looking for speakers up here. So I sent Peggy a little email and said I would love to speak there sometime. And the universe, I took an action, the universe said yes, and then people kept saying yes on either side, and now here I am. And it wasn't easy. The process was easy, but the inner resistance, all the stuff that came up along the way, and I have to say that it's still coming up. Standing up now here saying, I am your spiritual leader, for me that means, what does that mean to be a spiritual leader? It means not just talking about God the God Omnipotent and repeating a bunch of phrases I've heard. It means really living the process. Yes?
Remember, first you are human, then you are spiritual.
Well, and even better, the more I can fully be human, the more I become a real, authentic spiritual leader.
Yes.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in making, yes?
One thing I sometimes make up is that I can't do anything because of my age. And I know that I can do all things through Christ, and I can do whatever I need to do. I maybe need to drop some things, but I can do what I need to do.
Can we get a hallelujah for that?
Yes.
Yeah, and how much, my question is, how much of aging and what goes on with the body and dis-ease has to do with the collective consciousness, what we've just decided is supposed to happen. I mean, I don't know how much of the Bible is true, how much of it is myth, how much of it is whatever. I don't know. But I do know in the Bible, Methuselah lived 900 years. And there's many people in the early part of the Bible that are said to have lived hundreds of years. I've also heard a lot recently from many people in the scientific community, those of them who are now embracing spirit and are really looking at the big picture, not just the facts, but opening up. And they're saying that, you know, this is the truth, that we do have the ability to live much longer lives when we come into balance with our mental, emotional, spiritual parts of us, when we're living in balance, when we're living in harmony with nature and in balance. And the other thing that I heard, which was very powerful, is that Greg Braden, who's started, he was a scientist, very involved with that, and then he opened up into spirituality, so he's got that base of science. So it's wonderful to listen to him, because he's kind of got that nerdy type of brain, so he gathers all the facts and all the information. And apparently there's been some research going around to a lot of the indigenous communities where they don't have records, so they're not officially the oldest person in the world, but yet through doing the research and talking to the people and looking at the history, there are people, many of them on the planet, who are living up to 130, 140 years old, and they're going strong. And when they're interviewed and asked, you know, how, you know, what is the answer? What has enabled you to keep going this long? They said, well, you know, the first 100 years is the hard part. And it's really getting used to this emotional center, getting used to the grief and the pain and the loss. It's really getting the ability to let go and move forward and release as we move forward. And what came up for me as I was driving up here and thinking about the talk and that we make it up is what would life look like if suddenly our entire memory was erased? Our sense of ourself, everything of the past was gone, and we stepped into it fresh and new. And we had someone like the Buddha or the Christ or the Ascended Masters telling us, this is what life is like. How easy would it be to then begin to step into that new miraculous way of being? Just to think about it, for me, made me realize how much there's just unconscious or subconscious beliefs about this is just the way life is, because this is what we've been taught. And of course the great masters say, don't look to the outside world for guidance and for what the world is about. Look within, listen within, because the truth is, if we are making it up, which is what Jesus and the Buddha and the great masters said, is that the world is actually a projection of our inner consciousness. If we are making it up, then we choose in each moment what it's about. And whatever is being reflected back to us from the world outside is telling us what we've been projecting. And if we don't like it, as they say in Unity, change your mind, change your life. So anything else that people are making up? That, yes?
Well, Valerie first.
Oh, well, what I think other people should do, who I care about. You know, I think they should listen to what I say and just do what I tell them in terms of planning their life.
Basically, that I know better what to do with your life than you
right.
do, or the Spirit.
They should
Yeah,
take
oh,
my
guilty
advice.
here. I do
Yeah.
that. How many of us are guilty of that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much easier would life be if we let go of that false belief that we know better what someone else should do with their life? Yeah, that's a lie, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking that one of the things that I make up, that things people share with me are true. You know, like somehow if it's shared with me, whether it's thoughts about me or thoughts about whatever, it's like, oh, okay, I don't know. And it's, taking that on.
Yeah, that's a good one.
really,
And I think truth and true.
Yeah.
What does that mean? You know, that mean it's important to understand that each person has their individual truth.
Right.
And that's right for them. And they're absolutely entitled to their opinion, to their feelings. But that doesn't have to be your truth. And then there's also the universal truth. And it's important to look at what is a universal truth. is we're making it up, a universal truth. And if that's true, each individual person has their each individual thing that they're making up for them. And to honor that is what can allow us to live in harmony. But really just what you suggested, that you know better about. You know more about what's better for someone else. If we follow that into the big picture that we're living right now, isn't that what has caused so much of the war and the struggle and the strife, and allowed people to really, treat each other not in a conscious, kind, human, and respectful way, because it's like, well, I know what's better for you. And it's to that idea of truth. What are the universal truths, and what is my truth, and can we allow other people to hold their truth without taking someone else's truth personally? And it's a challenge. Someone comes up and says, I think you're a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to your truth. Thanks for sharing.
And they could change their mind later. I mean, that's their truth in the moment.
Well, and how many times have we thought, or have I thought, oh my God, that person's a such and such, and then later on see another side of them and realize, oh, they were just having a bad day, or I was just having a bad day, and so I'm projecting it onto them.
Yeah.
So, anything else that people are making up that they want to share that's not necessarily true?
The topic is what specifically?
We are making it up. And what are we making up, or what have we decided about the world or about our lives that is not necessarily true?
Okay, off the top of my head, number one, you have to be able to live with yourself. Christianity is a way of living with yourself and other people. As a nation, you can live with yourself and other people, but are we living with other people and other nations? Are we?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah. And how
Are we? Ask yourself, are we?
Yeah.
Are we creating goodwill? Are other nations following us? The fate of the world will be determined how our relations are with other nations. My opinion.
Yeah.
At this point, with the degree of knowledge I have now. Now, a year from now, as I learn more, hopefully, maybe I'll have a different opinion. But I see we pollute the air, we pollute the water, we have weapons, we have the biggest military budget in the world, USA. We export more military equipment than any other nation in the world. Is that good for the world? You got to ask yourself, where is it leading to? Other nations are turning against us.
Well, absolutely.
Other nations are now starting pointing guns at us. We used to point guns at other people.
Well, and this is something that's been going on throughout history. And if we're making it up, how do we stop it? If we're making it up, what do we do in this little church? And what I see, if we're making it up, we don't have guns here. We respect each other. We keep an open heart. Within our own relationships,
We
we're loving.
understand that, but I'm talking about the fate of the world.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Well, but it goes back to what Valerie said, is trying to, imagining that we're in control of everyone else's life, and we know what's right or best for other people. We don't, and we can focus on what's going on out there. And I know for me, I basically have turned off the news. I don't watch it anymore because it's too upsetting, because it's all this stuff that brings up stuff, well, oh my God, that's got to stop, that's wrong. Our unity principle is one power, one presence active in the universe and in our lives. So I can step back and say those people involved in the military, those people who are still have a desire to be in that fight, they're going to learn what they need to learn. And if I focus on that, I'm going to make myself miserable, and I can choose to say, I don't want to be miserable. I can make peace in my own life. I can focus on the people in my life and be kind and loving. I can look at the places in my life when I'm wanting to shut someone else down, or I'm angry at them and I want to use force or whatever to close them out of my heart, and I can choose to heal on that level. And that's something that I can do. So if I'm making it up, what do I project? Do I focus on all the things that aren't right in the world and let it make me crazy and get in that political stuff, which you turn on the TV, and that's what it's all about. You watch these things and it's all, we know what's right and we know what's right, and they're just fighting, and that's all that goes on. So to me, that's a waste of energy. And so, yes, Valerie.
I've really come to understand in a different way the word surrender. You know, I used to think surrender was not a thing that I ever did, but there's a very sweet element to it, really.
Yeah.
Acceptance, surrender, you know.
Well, and also to me, surrender means to step back and look what's really there and stop trying to put my will into the situation. Surrender means to step back and allow Spirit, allow God to be present within the picture. We can look at the military, we can look at all the stuff that's wrong and start to say, oh my God, God's not present here. But if we step back, and even if we don't understand it, to say, I don't understand what's going on here, it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not in control. I'm not in total control. So it's the difference between being in control and trusting that divine energy that flows through you and that you're part of it. Our little brains cannot comprehend the big picture of Spirit. You know, we can watch the animal program. That's one thing that's powerful for me. And we can see the lion eating this little gazelle baby, and we can feel compassion for the gazelle baby, but we can also understand that this lion needs to feed its young, that, you know, we don't understand it all. We have feelings about it. And yet, what's happening there is us, because we are part of this world. So there's all these different things going on within us. We are in this universe, whatever the heck it is, with this evolutionary force that is always moving us forward. And I think that's another universal truth, is that we are always moving forward. We are always moving forward to the greater, to fuller understanding, to a fuller expression of life. And, you know, the volcanoes erupt. People are killed. People are destroyed. It's terrible from our human level, especially if it's people we know, or even if it's not people we know, we have compassion for them. And yet there's a part of us, a deep part of us, that knows that there is a divine hand moving through. And we can either focus on the smaller part that thinks it's horrible and something has to be fixed and this is wrong, or we can surrender to that divine energy and then ask, what is mine to do? Because it's not just about surrendering. As Colleen said, if you just step back and don't do anything, you know, we're alive. We're moving forward. We're in this process. So it's about starting to be conscious of what choices we make, what actions we take, and when we choose not to take an action, when we choose to step back and just wait for Spirit to tell us what the action is. And that means to continue to take that time to go within and listen, even if it means just to stop and take a breath and count to 10 when someone pushes your button, someone cuts you off, or your partner, or your mother, or your sister does something that, you know, makes you want to shake them. And maybe even ask yourself, what is this feeling about beyond just wanting to shake them, beyond the reaction? What is this feeling really about? Breathe into it. So since we were making it up, and one of the things that I want to make up in this community is participation, which is one of the reasons I'm really glad we're having this back and forth. And I think Jean shared that when she spoke last week, you had some question and answer stuff.
Well,
A little bit.
Valerie just kind of opened it up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
We had a little discussion.
Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Too, yeah.
Wonderful. Which is great, and which is the gift of a smaller community. Not that we don't want it to grow, and I already see it growing since I've been here. But another thing I want to do is add music. Jean stepped forward. She's going to help with the choir, and Marvin's on board. So I want to invite each and every one of you to participate in the choir. Reach out, you know, other people who love to sing and want to be part of it to do that. We're planning something on the 12th of September. That gives us time to have some rehearsals. And we're going to have it outside and hopefully allow the community to hear our voices and draw, through music, draw more like-minded souls to us. I also want to invite the kids, if they want to participate, to join in. And that's one of the reasons I invited Kevin up here, because he's a wonderful musician who I met through Unity of San Francisco. And the song that he's going to sing now is a song that he wrote, and it really expresses what I have felt since I've been in this community and the message that I want to continue to put out to the community. And the title of the song is All Are Welcome Here. And what I want to say to bring it up even bigger is not just all people, but everything is welcome here. In other words, we welcome in all of life. To feel it, we say yes to certain things and no to other things, but we're not closing our heart to anyone. We're staying open. And I'm sharing that with Marvin as well, even to look at the things that look like are not right with the world, and just open a loving heart to it, and just allow, if nothing else, just an acceptance that it is there. And there's a sing-along part of this too, right? So you can go ahead and join in.
Yeah, I encourage you all to sing on the chorus. It's very simple. It's kind of like a Paul Simon sing-along chorus. And I'll just show it to you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. La, 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 la. La. Broken hearts and broken dreams, bring it on and everything. Bring the song you fear to sing, all is welcome here. Even if you broke your vow 1,000 times, come anyhow. You're stepping into the power of now, all is welcome here. Whoa. See the Father and the Son reunited, here they come, dancing to the sacred drum. We know they're welcome here. See the shaman and the mighty priest, see the beauty and the peace, singing I have been pleased, I am welcome here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. La
Thank you, Kevin.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yes, you wrote that.
That's nice. Wow.
So the final song that she's going to sing in a minute is about angels. What's the actual title?
Angels for each other.
Angels for each other. And I think it's really, if we're making it up, it's a really powerful way to look at life. That each and every one of us on the planet are angels for each other. And I think it may be a universal truth. Because the truth is, nothing happens in a vacuum. We are a human family and we are all here moving in this process together. And so when we look at things that aren't working and structures that have been put together that seem to be causing harm, and we have a fear or we want to jump out and fix, or it starts to really affect us, then one of the things we can do is acknowledge that each and every person involved on either side of every issue, at their heart is an angel, and somewhere inside believe that they are doing the right thing to help. Whether it's just help themselves or whatever, but it's based on some belief or some message where they believe they're doing the right thing. And of course that's hard to grasp sometimes when you think of a Hitler, or when you even think of some of the heads of government in our country who have done some horrendous things, when we look at what we did to the Native American people. You know, there's a lot to feel bad for, to regret, to bring up these feelings. But to come from the point of view that nothing happens in a vacuum, that for in any situation there are energies coming into play that have been drawn together perhaps from a greater energy. And the story that I want to share, or the experience that I want to share that has helped me to kind of come to a non-judgmental place around a lot of what could be judged as horrible or terrible in the world, is a vision I had not long after I got back from John of God, which seemed to open up a part of me. I was having just these experiences where they would be getting these sort of download messages, and I was actually at the Oneness Blessing, which is an energy transfer that I go to at church, and I've already arranged we're going to be doing that in September or October. We're having a group of people come up and we're going to share the Oneness Blessing with this community, and I think that's going to be wonderful. We've got like 5 or 6 people who are going to come up and share one Sunday afternoon. But I was doing the Oneness Blessing, and you go into kind of a deep place when you do it, and I was giving the blessing, and suddenly I had this vision. Once again, I was having some stuff going on with in my relationship, which is just such a powerful learning playground for me. And it was actually good stuff was going on, but there's just a lot of feelings there, and I kind of thought, as I was doing the Oneness Blessing, as it popped into my mind, I thought, what's going on here? And I have gotten pretty good at asking the question from that heart space. Because what we have a tendency to do is go, what's going on here up in our ego mind? And we immediately want an answer. And if we don't get an answer, we put it in the problem closet, which that closet can get quite big and weigh on us quite a bit. So I practice when I have these questions, it's an open-ended question to Spirit. it's really about letting go. Once again, what Valerie said, it's the surrender, and it's surrendering basically to spirit. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is saying, I don't know the answer to this right now, so I'm turning it over to the all-knowing part of me. And so I said, what's going on here? And then I put my hands on the person's head to give the oneness blessing. You just kind of get yourself out of the way and let spirit move through you. And I had this vision, and I may have shared it with some of you before, that I was in Africa on the savannah, and I was a gazelle, and something startled me. I began to run. I felt the energy moving through me, and then suddenly there was this lioness who jumped on me, bit into my neck, and I felt pain at first, but very quickly the pain turned into this almost ecstatic feeling as I felt my life force disappear and literally move into this lioness. And I'm getting goosebumps as I'm feeling it. And then it was gone. And I thought, and I knew during the thing that I was the gazelle and my partner was the lioness. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And my next thought was, we all are made up of these cells, these things that are part of Mother Earth. So ultimately we're connected to everything. And if this evolutionary process is true, and spirit, evolving into matter, we've all been all these different things. We've all experienced all these different things. It's in our DNA, it's in our cells. Basically, we all crawled out of the ocean. So I just got some clarity that, we're in these relationships, we're still trying to make sense and balance all these other things that have gone on. How much of the struggle in relationship is who's getting what from the other person? It's this stuff. And at one point we were eating each other, right? So that next morning as I was waking up, kind of that half-sleep state, I had another vision, which I was this spider in a web, and this fly came in, and I just went over and grabbed it and sucked its blood out. It was very clear I was the spider and Toro was the fly. And I'm like, okay, so that's part of what's going on. And just hearing what Marvin said in the back and talking about the wars and stuff that go on, literally, that is still a greater expression of that. This is mine and this is yours, and having to grab and fight for what's going on. And it really is just, from our point of view in Unity, it's a past way of being that no longer makes sense as we begin to make truth of the world. And if we're making it up, it's still something that we can not judge the other people for. Send them love, send them healing, send them compassion. Realize that we're all angels in the world trying to make sense of it. And if there are still people that need to be playing in that other playground, to trust that they're going to learn what they need to learn. And, if still part of us wants to get involved and be angry about it, that's okay too. But ultimately, we are all angels here for each other. And if there's someone that needs to fight, someone else is going to show up to fight them. And when no longer there's anyone willing to show up to fight back, that person who wants to fight is going to have to figure out something else to do. It's one of the songs I love, and maybe we can sing that at another time, is the Universal Soldier, the one that Donovan wrote about, and it comes up for me, and it's difficult because we honor our servicemen who go to fight, and yet there's part of me that sometimes cringes when we want to honor them because I think of that song, The Universal Soldier, that if nobody was willing to fight anymore, there wouldn't be any wars. And so what I look at is the propaganda and the information. They say, oh, you need to go fight. And what Unity is about going within and saying, am I going to fight just because someone says so and I have to protect my country? Or do I know why I'm actually putting my life on the line? And then to question that, is this the best way to solve a problem? To deal with something? So the song I want to end with, because it's the message I want to end with, is angels for each other. And if you can view each and every person in your life as an angel, as there for your good, number one, it's in alignment with the unity principle. One power, one presence, God the good omnipotent, which means everyone you meet, everyone you see, is an aspect, an expression of God the good, omnipotent. And that's really what angels are. So we are each angels for each other. And I invite you to move through your week with that understanding in your heart and allow it to be there, especially when your buttons get pushed, especially when you're projecting that person as your enemy. To open up and see that.
Thank you, Cardi. So let's try the chorus. Angels for each other. I'll try to find the right key. Angels for each other. Friends along the way. 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 Perfect. When you're looking for the truth and you just can't find the way, 'cause you're blinded by distractions, living day to day, in the time it takes to listen to the beating of your heart, you can see the light all around if you only make a start. Make a start. If the road ahead is darkened and the path becomes unclear, clouds of indecision or a storm of hazy fear, I'll be walking right beside you with every step you take, and catch you if you fall. This promise I can make. Angels for each other. Friends along the way. Angels for each other. Friends along the way. We build a life of our dreams, through time and spirit dust, throw it all together, love and sacred trust. If only for a moment we shared a sweet release, it means the world to me, to hold your hand in peace. Whoa, 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 hold your hand in peace. Angels for